This is the Troll Patrol, live with Justin FREAKIN.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol, live. Indeed, stream hype. Enjoy that countdown while you can. We're coming up on the 1 year anniversary spectacular of the Troll Patrol Live that is coming at you on 4/20. We will be taking the air at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. We will be celebrating 4/20 all across the country. I've got a whole bunch of shit I'm going to be pulling out. So if you haven't read all the shit in the countdown, all those jokes are going to go to waste. Everything gets redone. Big show tonight. We're going to talk about guns. And what a fitting day to talk about guns. We got multiple shootings to talk about. Hell, it's just another day in America. A mass shooting taking place in Texas within the last couple of hours. A suspect is in custody. We're going to break that down. What's going on, Rocky Flame? Fresh out of Facebook jail, producer Dave is. Welcome, Echoplex Media. Check out my friends. I think that worked. No, it didn't. Fuck that. But hey, producer Dave. I've got a whole show planned, but as I was coming on, I happened to see this, and I was like, you know what? We may just watch this dumb fuckery. It's a satanic panic cult kind of nod, isn't it?
Politics, everybody should take a little page from Eminem and just say, yeah, I did it.
I think Graham Allen is one of the dumbest motherfuckers there is. We've got Tammy Lauren in the middle, and I don't even know who the guy on the end is.
My name's Jeremy, and this question's for Brandon.
Brandon something or other, I guess.
A situation's going to arise where the left is going to ask to defund the police once again.
Is there a situation where they're going to request the defunding of police in a more improved way, I guess you're saying? Yeah, I think they have to say these things because they put their foot in their mouth and they want to be outraged every time a police officer does something, just like with this George Floyd case. They have to keep running the same crazy talking points because they've already put it out there. This is what they're running on. They make money on it. So
what's the oh my God!
Police officer is the bad person, and so they have to have a solution to the problem that they create, which is defunding the police.
They make money on it, he said.
It's never going to come to fruition in any real way because, as we can see around the entire country, all these places where they're defunding the police, where they're shaming.
Will Witt, I'm not sure I know him.
Control. People's lives are in danger. People are dying. I mean, all of these things. Police officers are quitting departments. They're not recruiting good police officers.
You knew the dude in the audience?
Keep pushing, and
you mean the dude that's holding it for TPUSA out in the audience?
Of a defund the police.
Not the person that asked the question. Look at how well funded TPUSA is. Look at that backdrop.
So just wanted to. Sorry, I got a two-part question. So I was at the Capitol. I was on the steps of the Capitol January 6th.
So we have an insurrectionist. Please get the FBI in here. He said he was at the Capitol.
Officers get sprayed with bear spray. You know, I put this on my blog. Seeing them get sprayed with bear spray affected me, you know, as it probably should affect anyone here. And let me see. So, you know, and I listen to both sides. I listen to everything. I've spoken with cops that are trying to do justice and reform their own department, and they love this country. They've served in the military. So, you know, like I've heard all the arguments, like, you know, are the bad apples eroding trust in the community? Yes. You know, we all agree.
There's a couple masks at least. I mean, it is a college campus.
Yeah.
Looks like she has one, but it's under her nose.
You know,
This dude's got a mask on with a flag on it.
Qualified immunity. Also, yes.
This dude's asking you a good question.
No, but
And so the other thing I'm trying
can you just get to the question? I'm sorry, man. I don't want to be rude. More people are in line. Just
so the
just ask
other part is that most of the people trying to all the police officers that are whistleblowers throughout the nation, the funny part is that most of them served in the military because there's a military code of justice.
Can you ask the question?
So-
Can you ask the question, sir,
And there's a
please?
military-
They're getting rude with him because he's making good
when they get to
points.
what are your thoughts? Because when they get to being officers, there's no military.
He's just nervous. The people asking questions at an event like this aren't media trained.
Okay, there was a lot. I mean, I'm trying to figure out what you're saying.
Let's talk about the qualified immunity. Let's talk about that, because I think that's an
Yeah,
important
I mean,
point to talk about.
I don't understand why people think that police officers should be subject to being held liable independently when they're acting on behalf
Why not?
of the state or municipality. So it makes
Why not?
people are going down the
Doesn't that shoot down your bad apple argument?
deranged policies because they know nothing about law
So
enforcement.
if you're going to say it's an individual cop's actions, not a system,
Not right.
then why
Those
wouldn't you want
things
them
are
to be
not
held
on the police
liable?
department. Nobody's teaching a police officer to shoot somebody in the back. Nobody's teaching a police officer to murder people for no reason or
Yes, they are. They literally are.
So when you're talking about police reform, let's have an honest conversation and quit trying to devalue police, defund police, humiliate police, and make them susceptible to things that they should not be.
Oh my God, the guy in the audience was trying to have an honest conversation. This motherfucker.
I'd like to add to that, if you have unprotected police, you'll have no police. Period.
Good.
Put yourself in their shoes. If you had to go out there every single day knowing that
You
if
do.
you're-
Hey, you do. Everybody does. We all go to our work
situation like that, and you've got nobody backing you up,
and face liability.
officer. And on the UCMJ thing, let me answer that. The military, the United States military, does have that. 9.5 times out of 10, if there's issues in the military, there's this thing called handling it internally. And they don't broadcast it all over the news to try to paint the military as a whole as this bad thing. So, last point, you said that there
Wow.
are apples that are ruining the police for the
Wow.
community. My question to you is, are there really that many bad apples? Or
Yes.
is that the only thing that the fake news media is dumping down your throat every single day? Because I don't see it. I don't
Watch
see
the
it.
videos Hey, if you don't see it, Graham Allen, tune into the Troll Patrol Live every night at 8 p.m. Eastern. You know how many fucking videos we've watched the cops?
Sorry. That's become martyrdom now. Resist arrest, and then you make a name for yourself. Resist arrest, and you'll be the new martyr for the cause. How disgusting is that?
Last night, we watched a music producer.
there are people-
He was just taking out his trash, got grabbed by the cops. This happened in L.A.
Resist arrest. Weren't taught that that was the cool thing to do. Weren't taught that that was somehow their duty for the.
Tons of ex-military joined and are appalled.
Would be alive. If you have an issue,
There was the one in Virginia that they shot the suspect dead, and then they had to fire him because they said he put
It's not worth putting an
everybody else's life on the
for
line.
that. Go through the right process and the right protocol. You don't get to just act crazy and lawless.
Otherwise, they are all bad apples.
Same on CNN. That's disgusting.
And I don't see cops arresting other cops. It's always outside investigations.
Yeah.
And I think that's disgusting, Tammy.
I am a son and a nephew of two police officers of 25 years. I've been recently feeling discouraged about the
Good.
police movement. And this question's more towards the field. I'm just more looking for
I want you to feel discouraged, white boy.
as to how I can kind of put my beliefs out there and be able to maintain like a strong character.
I'm not high enough for this shit.
My uncle go through such hardship over the past 25 years of being hated and still putting their lives on the line.
Yeah, I think, what people have to understand is that everybody has a mission in this. Some people may be on social media. Some people may be, they're able to.
I work with an organization, a former LAPD
telling the truth. That's the best that you can do.
police officer. His
Never
father was an
back down
LAPD captain. quit the force, is now a whistleblower
because you support police
against the
all of
police.
these things that these individuals are saying are just complete lies and foolery. You have police officers that are in your family that you see them on a day-to-day basis. You know what work that they do. You know how hard they work. You know what quality of men they are. So just stand.
Lies and complete foolery.
Never let people overtalk you. Tell the truth every time you.
But it's not lies. I've done it. I've done it here on the show. I've laid out all the
Never
evidence.
apologize for men and women who serve.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I would say to you is, and I say this all the time, it's easy to say what you believe, and it's easy to talk about what you stand for when you're surrounded by other people that believe the same things that you do. It's hard to go out there and stand for what you believe and your principles when people will hate you for it. But this is the difference between us and the left. And this is
What?
why Brandon likes to say this all the time. In the end, we will win because we stand on morals, we stand on character, we stand on what the Bible teaches us every single day. The left stands on nothing except they want things to be their way. That's all it is. We need real people. We need real leaders to stand up.
But they don't come into our space.
Because Lord knows we have enough.
I would go stand toe to toe with any of them. They would it's just like going on Maskless Moses' show. He's got to make sure it's compartmentalized and he has control.
Because these two both served in law enforcement, military.
All three of these fuckers will only appear in controlled environments in front of a friendly crowd right now.
And I found this as well. That human connection that you have because you have family that's in law enforcement, if you can actually have a one-on-one conversation with somebody that is a BLM or a defund the police person or just a liberal in general, if you can have a conversation and be like, hey, listen, I'm the product of a police family. This is what my family has done for the community.
Come on. 917-830-4359.
Look at police as a monolith.
Call and tell me about it.
Certain instances and bad apples and rest their case on this, but when you say, hey, listen, I got a personal connection to that, let me tell you about what my family has done for the community.
And you know for a fact Sam would have any of those three on. All they had to do was make contact and they could be on. And it would probably raise their profile, but they're afraid. They are afraid.
Hi, my name is Jamie. I have a question.
What's up, Jamie?
On the stage. I have a 17-year-old who's graduating high school this year. He's actually graduating a year early. He had a hope of having a career in law enforcement or the Air Force, and he feels discouraged from doing either.
Good. I'm glad he feels discouraged. I want him to feel. I am.
It kind of feels bleak.
I take solace in the fact that all these people are like, oh, I feel discouraged about being a cop. I'm glad you feel discouraged. I'm glad you feel discouraged that your family was a fucking cop.
It's not a career, it's a calling on your life. And so when you have a calling on your life, then it's up to you to answer that call no matter what. It doesn't matter what the president is doing. It doesn't matter what society.
I'll answer that call, 917-830-4359. If you are a right-winger, I want to hear from you.
At least 21 to be in.
I constantly get them online. They're like, you're trying to cancel me. I'm like, no, motherfucker. Call in. I'll let you speak for like the whole fucking hour.
And I'll let God figure the rest out with the people in there.
I am so...
Even how the leftists are pushing
from the brow, I'm bumping the
officer isn't all bad either. So when you're on the police department, depending on what jurisdiction,
when I'm not talking, it's
you may not encounter these lunatics that are wanting to defund you every day. You may work for.
It's when they go to a question, it's really low.
I would choose a police department that's going to be supportive, but don't focus on all the noise. Focus on your calling, and I think that's the best answer you can give.
And what I would say to you and to your son, if he is thinking about the military, is I would say that the military needs people like your son. Because let me tell you something, the military is a direct representation of the culture. And the truth is that I was a recruiter for 3 years. Trust me, I know. The truth is...
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Don't enlist in the military.
I'm not high enough for this shit.
America. They enlist because they want something. Free college, free health care, free this, free that. We need people to go and be the real example of what a patriot looks like inside our military. And so if that is on your
please smoke
heart,
with me.
and that is his calling, we need him because the greatest generation didn't care about their health care and their free college. They cared about America.
I'll leave it up to the chat. Do you guys want news or do you want to keep watching this? I've got a whole show planned. We can totally watch this. I'm happy with that.
My name is William Conley, and I want want to go ahead and
I saw it on as I was getting ready to come on.
Everyone doesn't hear that enough from every American in this country.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So
This is a TP USA panel.
and especially after the killing of General Soleimani, that there's been increased stigma against the military. And I want
Do you want to? Does everybody want to see me and Dave do it on a panel and want to see me do news right now?
where people are calling to defund the military.
Warlord says news.
Well, I mean, it's happened before.
You know we got to check in on Matty Gates.
People returning from Vietnam were called baby killers and things like that. So I hope not.
They were
evolved as a society to understand the difference, and this goes for military and police.
I can't bob in with you on Saturday. You can totally go over it on Saturday. I have company. It's WrestleMania weekend.
Ladies and gentlemen,
So I've got plans for
it's
WrestleMania.
not meant to be this cuddly, cute little bear that you can just pull out when you want a bunch of people to like.
We'll get to the news here in 1 second. Let me get a little buzz going
Its
on.
most basic core is to be the most dominant, deadly force the world has ever seen. And somewhere along the way, we forgot that. And so my hope would be that we continue to take out terrorists, that the world is a better place, that they are no longer here. And yes.
Oh, guys, let me tell you, I have a video of Senator Kennedy. Yes, old lady Kennedy singing. We're going to watch Senator Kennedy sing a song about vaccines. Don't say that, Scrappy. All right, let's check in just in the last couple of hours in Bryan, Texas. There was a mass shooting, 1 person dead, 5 hurt. A trooper was shot pursuing the suspect. The shooter is in custody now. A Texas state trooper is in stable condition after being shot pursuing a person suspected of opening fire at a business park in central Texas Thursday afternoon. He killed 1 person. He injured another 5. This is according to the Texas Department of Public Safety. The trooper is in serious but stable condition, and the suspect is in custody. Further details about the shooting and capture of the suspected gunman have not yet been made available. Thursday evening, shortly before 5 p.m. Central Time, Bryan Chief of Police Eric Buskey said a person who they believe to be an employee of Kentmore Cabinets showed up at the company's headquarters and began shooting near the warehouse. So another day in America coincides with Joe Biden giving a press conference earlier today. Is Ninja in chat? Ninja usually lurks around. So this comes on the heels of a shooting in South Carolina that we're going to talk about here in just a little bit.
Eric Garland, who I've asked to prioritize gun violence. It's also good to see the second gentleman who is here. And it's good to see the First Lady, Dr. Jill Biden, who cares deeply about this issue as well. And I look out there and I see so many members of Congress who've led in this fight.
Okay, so here's the thing: less guns are better, right? My whole thing on it. Here's the way I look at it, because I'm not anti-gun, and the Constitution does protect the right to own a gun. It doesn't say shit about the manufacture and the commercialization of guns. I think that's the problem. It's the gun culture that gun manufacturers have foisted on this country in order to make profit. I think we should outlaw the mass manufacture of guns. You wanna order the parts and put together a gun in your basement? Go for it. I'm down with it. Do it. But we shouldn't have Remington shouldn't be a company. That's my take on it. So, not anti-gun, own a gun, especially like we've got 3D printed guns and shit, but you shouldn't be allowed to commercialize it, market it. It because less guns the better. No advertising or lobbying for sure. Like it's the industry. It's the gun industry because once upon a time, the NRA was a good organization that taught gun safety and marksmanship. Let's get back to that. Gun safety and marksmanship. Because they constantly make the argument about responsible gun owners. Where are these responsible gun owners at? Dude in, I believe it was Tennessee, had a permit to carry on campus. Left his gun out on a table. Had a specific carve out of the law to allow him specifically to carry a gun. Left it on a table. When he went to pick it up, it discharged.
Never given up. So many of you are absolutely determined as Murphy.
Most people own them responsibly until they don't.
We got a long way to go. It seems like we always have a long way to go. But also today we're taking steps to confront not just the gun crisis, but what is actually a public health crisis. Nothing I'm about to recommend.
As I said, I'm not anti-gun ownership.
They're phony arguments.
I don't think they should be mass-produced. I don't think they should be marketed, sold commercially.
But no amendment to the Constitution is absolute. You can't yell fire in a crowded movie theater. We call it freedom of speech. From the very beginning, you couldn't own any weapon you wanted to own. From the very beginning the Second Amendment existed, certain people weren't allowed to have weapons. So the idea is just bizarre to suggest that some of the things we're recommending are contrary to the Constitution.
True.
Gun violence in this country is an epidemic. Let me say it again. Gun violence in this country is an epidemic.
It's the Onion headline. No way to prevent this, says the only country where this regularly happens.
Coming to the Oval Office, I got the word that in South Carolina, a physician with his wife, 2 grandchildren, and a person working at his house was gunned down, all 5. So many people.
By a former NFL star. We're getting ready to talk about that story here in just a little bit. Apparently, it's wild.
You know, they know what it's like when the seconds change your life forever. I've had the
I never thought about it that way, Dave.
pleasure of getting to meet in awful circumstances many of you who've lost your children, your husbands, your wives. They know what it's like to bury a piece of their soul deep in the earth.
Also, stick with us. We're going to watch a very stupid video of Steven Crowder having somebody put his knee on the back of his neck.
It's good to see you, but not under these circumstances.
We're going to check in with Matt Gaetz.
What a lot of people have not been...
Oh, Eric Bolling. You love Eric Bolling, don't you? Producer Dave. Eric Bolling had a blow up and walked off set.
They're absolutely determined to make change. But Mark and Jackie, whose son Daniel was a first grader in Sandy Hook Elementary School, Daniel...
Oh, don't even get me started about our foreign policy fucking up other countries.
I see my friend Fred Guttenberg.
That's one of the reasons why, the way we look at immeship pisses me the fuck off, is because we don't look at it as like they're coming here because of our own fucking foreign policy.
The shooting at the end.
Go fuck up every goddamn country we can.
He survived, but his 2 best friends died. Greg Jackson, who was just...
People hear the term Banana Republic,
crossfire of a gunfight,
and it evokes the idea of a Banana Republic in their head, but they don't understand that it was the result of U.S. policy.
Who was here?
The U.S. did that.
Who was speaking with her constituents in front of a grocery store in her state when she was shot and a member of her staff was killed. They're here, and their pain is immense. And what a lot of you, hopefully many of you, don't know is you've gone through...
And that's like, I don't have the story here. I didn't put it on the docket for tonight, but it looks like Joe Biden is going to balk on the Trump order to withdraw troops from Afghanistan.
The immediacy of what happened at that moment. So I genuinely mean it. Thank you Thank you for having the courage to be here. The courage.
We should not still be in that country.
Senator Blumenthal understands it. A lot of the folks out here understand it. But it takes real courage, so thank you. To turn pain into purpose and demand that we take the action and get.
Now, I understand if Trump was doing it for
enough,
God knows what reasons, could not have been in our best interest.
No.
And if you have to reevaluate, but you can't tell me that you can't come out and at least give us a concrete date when you're going to get the fuck out of there.
Shot every single day. 106 of them die every day. Our flag was still flying at half staff for the victims of the horrific murder of 8 primarily Asian American people in
I should have pulled up the story about the 6 executive orders he issues here, because like he's never going to get to the point, is he?
You probably didn't hear it, but between those 2 incidents, less than 1 week apart, there were more than
a lot better off.
50 additional shootings. 850 that took the lives of more than 250 people. And left 5.
Dustin, that is exactly what China is doing. They are stepping in the vacuum that we created, and they're going into other countries, building schools and roads and bridges and shit.
Steps we're going to take immediately.
And that's how they're positioning themselves for the next century.
Needs to be taken going forward to curb the epidemic of gun violence. I asked the Attorney General and his team to identify for me
total layup, isn't it?
Concrete actions I could take now without having to go through the Congress.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, if he would come out and tell us, like, hey, maybe it's going to take until the end of the year, but we are getting out, I'd be okay with that. Because who the fuck knows why Trump did what he did?
So-called ghost guns.
Because you and I aren't looking at that, but there's no reasonable 6 months to a year. There's no reason why we couldn't be out of there.
You can go buy the kit. They have no serial numbers, so when they show up at a crime scene, they can't be traced. And the buyers aren't required to pass a background check to buy the kit, to make the gun. Consequently, anyone from a criminal to a terrorist can buy this kit in as little as 30 minutes, put together a weapon. You know,
I did not know this existed. This is good advertising. I want one of these kits.
Which is going to require that the seller...
Apparently they're easy to get.
...make the key parts with serial numbers and run background...
And also talking about a layup, where you're coming up on 420, not only is it the 1-year anniversary of the Troll Patrol Live...
The second action we're going to take, back in the year 2000...
If the Democrats are smart, they're going to legalize weed.
Its investigations
or decriminalize it on the federal level.
The report was of pivotal value. It was an important tool.
And announce it on 420.
Policymakers when I was in the Senate and beyond, at all levels, to stop firearms from being illegally diverted into dangerous hands. Today, with online sales and ghost guns, times and trafficking methods have changed, and we have to adjust. We also have to ask the Justice Department to...
No, he's not based like that. And they fucking fired people for past marijuana use from the White House.
As it is today, not what it was yesterday.
It's one of the reasons why I don't have much faith that they're going to do the right thing. But then again, Chucky Schumer...
Modified with stabilizing braces.
...is also pushing hard.
A stabilizing brace shook in a pencil essentially makes that pistol a hell of a lot more accurate than a mini rifle. As a result, it's more lethal, effectively turning it into a short-barreled rifle. That's what the alleged shooter in Boulder appears to have done. I want to be clear.
Do you think that's the way it went down? Oh, we just want to get a good sense of things. Yep, you're fired.
Be subject to the National Firearms Act.
Motherfucker.
The National Firearms Act requires that a potential owner pay $200 fee and submit their name and other identifying information to the Justice Department. Just as they would if they went out and purchased.
Yeah, we can't watch all this shit. He's boring the fucking hell out of me. Let's find out what his executive orders were, because apparently I missed a couple of them. I was like, when's he gonna get to it? Among the actions Biden will take will be to direct the Department of Justice to begin within 30 days the process of requiring buyers of so-called ghost guns the homemade or makeshift firearms that lack serial numbers to undergo background checks, and within 60 days, regulating concealed assault-style firearms, according to the White House. More than 100 House Democrats wrote to Biden last week, urging him to take action on the concealed assault-style firearms, which is similar to the one used in the Colorado shooting in which 10 people were killed. Biden will also direct the Department of Justice to provide states with 60 days with a proposed red flag legislation that would permit courts to order the temporary removal of firearms from a person who may be a danger to themselves or others, and issue a comprehensive report on firearms trafficking. There you go. Now on to the other shooting that went on today. I guess it might have been last night. Just in time to light one up for the nation's independence. He does know a lady in VA that needs a hit. Defensive back Philip Adams, who previously played for the 49ers, shot himself after gunning down Dr. Robert Leslie, his wife, and 2 young grandkids. So there's a picture of Adams. That's the family. This is Adams' father. We've got a quote from him here.
He's a good kid. He was a good kid, and I think the football messed him up. I don't think he ever did anybody any harm. So all I can tell you, we pray for the family.
I mean, he has done some people some harm now. The York County Sheriff's Office confirmed that Adams killed himself in a bedroom in his parents' home. Following the massacre, police said that he used a .45 caliber weapon and was found with a single gunshot wound to the head. During the attack, a 9mm gun was also used. 911 operators said they received a call from someone screaming that he had been shot. A second call from a witness who was mowing grass was released, where the man told dispatchers, "I think there's been a bad shooting." The athlete was wearing a hoodie and camouflage pants at the time of the incident when he forced entry into the doctor's home. Following the alleged incident, it was revealed that Adams had a rap sheet which included charges for carrying a concealed gun and assault. Adams, 33, played in 78 NFL games over 5 seasons for 6 teams. He suffered concussions during his time in the league. The York County Sheriff's Office said they had searched for hours before finding the suspect in a nearby home. The York County Coroner's Office said that the 70-year-old doctor and his wife, Barbara Leslie, 69, were pronounced dead at the scene, along with grandchildren Ada Leslie and Noah Leslie, 9 and 5. A 5th victim, James Lewis, 38, was found dead outside of the property. Authorities said he had been working at the home when he was shot. His father, Tom, told a reporter, "I keep on thinking I was going to wake up and this will have faded away as a bad dream. A car goes by here and I'm expecting James to come crawling up. It's unreal." The victim was identified as the father of 3, Robert Shook. His family said that he is fighting for his life and has received multiple surgeries. So, this is Shook. He's still in critical condition. Philip Adams was later identified as the alleged suspect on Thursday morning. A safety and special teams player from South Carolina State, he joined the 49ers in 2010. Did he know? Did he know the doctor? That's what I want to know. He was arrested and charged with carrying a concealed gun in 2016. He was later arrested for simple assault and battery. Later arrested in 2009. That doesn't make sense. Okay, the doctor had treated him, yeah. So the doctor wrote a crazy, there's an essay. We're going to read that here in a second. Oh, this is it right here. A note published onto the doctor's Facebook page following the news of his death, providing words that he recently wrote before he passed into glory. One day when I depart this body and find myself in the presence of the Lord, my time, however, it will be measured, will be filled with the praises and the wonder of Jesus. The chilling note went on to mention walking with his wife, who died alongside him yesterday in heaven. We have no idea what heaven will look like, only that it will be perfect. So, wow. So I hate to go back to politics after covering such a shitty story. The doctor posted Garth Brooks lyrics. Well, change of pace here. Let's go to Bernie Sanders, somebody we admire. He's going to give us some details on the lesser-known points of the American Rescue Plan.
And second of all...
Hey, somebody left when I put up Bernie Sanders. What the fuck? You don't leave when I play a video of Bernie Sanders.
Make sure we get the money out to rural America, including small towns in the state of Vermont, who often are not beneficiaries. Burlington did very well, but we've got a lot of small towns that need the help as well. I wanted to add, and just make you cognizant of this, is there is a whole lot in the recovery plan, rescue plan, that people are not aware of. Just give you a few examples.
Yes, I want the examples.
Above and beyond everything else. We tripled funding for after school and summer programs. All right. So if you guys are running after school or summer programs, there's going to be a lot more money available for you. And I don't have to tell anybody this has been a terrible year for the kids. It's been a very disruptive year in education. We're working with the governor's office to make sure that we have outstanding summer programs this year, which will help kids maybe regain some of what they lost academically.
Well, see, that's cool.
Recreation, maybe have some jobs programs as well.
Now, this is all the shit that the Republicans were bitching about, not having to do with COVID.
For after school, expanded after school, and summer programs as well.
Probably going to be 2 full years by the time we get around to it.
In Barry City Clerk.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you for including me. I'm Carol Dawes. I'm the Barry City Clerk and Treasurer. I'm
hey, Carol.
The chair of the Legislative Committee for the Vermont Municipal Clerk and Treasurers Association. And Ted has certainly touched on a lot of things that are sort of municipal-wide. One of the big ones being loss of revenue. The city of Barry certainly experienced tremendous reductions in revenue for...
So it seemed like the doctor, which I mean, this kind of shit happens. The Ultimate Warrior, like, got inducted into the Hall of Fame and then fucking died the next day. It was weird. Not the day after the holiday. It was the day after Raw. He goes on, like, he gives this, like, weird statement, like, hey, it has to be just coincidence. That's wild that he would post that within hours of him dying or within days. Shit. I don't believe in a God, but that stuff seems too on the money to be coincidental, right?
Fiscal year 20 and then fiscal year 21, which
back to fiscal policy.
Thankfully, we had enough advance notice that the council could adjust our budget before we set our tax rates to make sure that our tax rates, we actually cut our budget to make up for the projected $500,000 worth of revenue shortfall. But that meant we were cutting services to the public too. And I'm sure that Scott will go into
talk about romantic about speaking about death.
I want to really
fucking John Prine in that last album,
and the clerks throughout the state.
And then he dies of COVID.
Experienced similar circumstances across the state. Closed offices, furloughed employees, developing ways to continue to serve the public while putting protection measures in place. Here in Berry City, City Hall has been closed for more than a year now, and yet we still provide services to the public. We're still issuing marriage licenses and collecting property taxes and issuing dog licenses, and we have to continue to provide those services.
Well, yeah, you gotta have dog licenses, even during a pandemic. Speaking of dogs, let's check in with Matt Gaetz. Key figure in Matt Gaetz' probe likely cooperating with federal prosecutors. I'm sure Matt Gaetz is not feeling very comfortable today, Joel Greenberg's defense attorney said. The legal peril Representative Matt Gaetz is facing appeared to increase sharply Thursday after a court hearing indicated that one of Gaetz' close friends from Seminole County, Florida, a tax collector, Joel Greenberg, is likely cooperating with federal prosecutors. The potentially ominous development for the close ally of former President Donald Trump came as prosecutors and a defense attorney for Greenberg appeared before a judge to discuss the next steps in a recently expanded criminal case charging Greenberg with sex trafficking of a minor, as well as stalking, bribery, and defrauding the pandemic-related Paycheck Protection Program. I am sure Matt Gaetz is not feeling very comfortable today, Greenberg's defense attorney, Fritz Scheller, said after the hearing. The federal probe looking into whether Gaetz had a sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl and paid for her travel began last year and grew out of the Greenberg investigation. We believe this case is going to be a plea, federal prosecutor Roger Handberg said. My hopes would be that this is done this month. Scheller agreed that his client is looking to deal. I expect this case to be resolved with a plea, the defense lawyer said moments later. However, Scheller said he doubted the details of the agreement could be hashed out by the end of April. I don't think it is realistic for the plea to be resolved this month. The briefing took less than 10 minutes and attorneys did not mention Gaetz by name in court. The exchange in Scheller's extended comments to reporters following the session, however, strongly suggested that Greenberg is assisting the prosecution and that Thursday's events were choreographed to turn up the heat on Gaetz. Gaetz did not respond to a request for comment on the latest turn in the mushrooming, what a fucking word, mushrooming legal saga. I do not need to hear about Matt Gaetz' mushrooming. Scheller emphasized to journalists that talks about a potential deal with the government have been underway for at least a month. The defense lawyer also said he expected the ongoing plea discussions to take some time to resolve because he expected prosecutors would need high-level approval for any agreement. The new development signals potentially serious trouble for Gates, as prosecutors now have someone close to the congressman apparently willing to provide an insider account of his activities. Such information and perspective can be vital to provide context for the financial and travel records prosecutors are known to be scrutinizing. Greenberg, however, could have credibility problems as a witness if he takes the stand against Gates, because the former tax collector faces separate charges of having sex with a minor and for falsely smearing a rival as a pedophile. Of course, it's always projection with these people. But Greenberg could prove useful to prosecutors without taking the stand, including by leading them to evidence that could corroborate what he has to say. Apparently, they are also looking into a trip that Mr. Gates made to the Bahamas. CNN reporting today, federal investigators are scrutinizing Matt Gates' trip to the Bahamas. The investigation includes the scrutiny of the trip.
Embattled Republican Congressman Matt Gates, now fundraising.
Oh, well, let's see what you got to say.
Federal investigation into whether he had a sexual relationship with an underage girl and whether he paid her. The close Trump ally sending out this fundraising email to his supporters with the subject line, "They're coming for me," in which he denies wrongdoing. Yet still tonight,
I wish you people could feel shame. I wish you could feel shame, Matt Gates. Learn to feel embarrassment. It would save the rest of us reasonable people a lot of fucking headache. CNN previously reported that investigators have also been examining allegations that Gates had sex with an underage girl who was 17 at the time and with other women who he provided drugs and money in violation of sex trafficking and prostitution laws. CBS News, which first reported on the trip to the Bahamas, was told by a spokeswoman, Rep. Gates has never paid for sex, nor has he had sex with an underage girl. What began with blaring headlines about sex trafficking has now turned into a general fishing exercise about vacations and consensual relationships with adults. Investigators are considering Gates' connections to several associates in Florida who may have benefited politically in return for providing the congressman with benefits, including escorts. Are you making, did I say trafficking wrong? It's my southern accent. I try really hard. My apologies. Oh. I did like, sometimes the southernness comes through. I don't know how to say things. I don't talk like that at all. I'm sorry. Florida sues CDC. It's always Florida. Fucking Matt Gates is the congressman from Florida. Florida sues CDC over cruising as timeline to get cruise ships back in U.S. waters remains unclear. Once again, I don't read these stories. Like, I catch up with the news with you guys every night. I just saw Florida sue CDC. I didn't know it was over goddamn cruise ships. Jesus. Governor Ron DeSantis announced Thursday that Florida has filed a lawsuit against the federal government and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to end the halt on cruise industry operations. You know, the thing that spread COVID all over the fucking world. Cruise ships were prevented from leaving ports with passengers by no-sell orders issued by the CDC more than a year ago. That order was replaced with the agency's conditional sell order published in October that requires cruise lines to abide by CDC-instituted phases for a return to cruising, but hasn't allowed them to resume sailing yet. The CDC's plan isn't working fast enough, according to DeSantis. Florida is fighting back, the governor said during a briefing at Port Miami, flanked by cruise line employees and state and local officials. This is not reasonable. This is not rational. You know what's not reasonable or rational? Getting people killed over goddamn cruise lines. DeSantis insisted that the CDC shutdown order was still in place and that there is no end in sight. DeSantis said that the CDC's order was not preventing people from cruising, but instead only putting Florida and the U.S. ports at a competitive disadvantage as cruise lines move ships to other ports of the world. Which is weird because, like Europe's completely shut down right now. Yep. I think it was Vice did a very interesting piece on the fact that cruise ships are just like, they're junking them right now. Here we have a congressman from Florida.
Hello, my name is Carlos Jimenez, and I am the congressman who represents Florida Congressional District Number
Carlos Jimenez.
And I know that the issue of the port very well. Port of Miami is, or actually was, the cruise capital of the world. And I say was because no ships have been operating out of the Port of Miami for about a year. And
that's just what's going to keep that
to revamp.
With any business, until we get this shit under control, you're putting them at a disadvantage by having them do these stops and starts over and over again. That is going to kill business faster than anything. If you just paid everybody to stay the fuck home, we would have got this over with faster. Everybody would have been happier. None of these businesses would have went under. You did rent freezes and mortgage moratoriums. Yes, not wearing a mask has consequences.
Obsolete conditional sale order. As it stands, it entirely ignores the rapid rate of vaccination across the United States and unfairly singles out.
I'm glad he brought that up. We're going to talk about vaccinations here in a second.
That hasn't been able to operate in some fashion here.
Along with listening to Senator Kennedy give us a
shutdown. If we're to follow the science and believe the efficacy of the COVID-19 vaccine, then why is the CDC
give us a little performance? Sing a song for us about vaccinations.
Just like it has allowed airlines, rail companies, ground transportation, hotels, and theme parks. To me, it's unfathomable that they don't even take in consideration that vaccines are a reality in their sale orders. It's unconscionable. This irresponsible decision by the federal bureaucrats who have no concept of what is actually happening out in the real world is deeply hurting South Florida. As I said, this is the...
I would like to bring up what's actually happening out in the real world, Representative Jimenez. Vaccine refusal may put herd immunity at risk. Researchers warn. You're on a wait list. Meanwhile, in fucking East Tennessee, like nobody's showing up. Despite the fact that millions of people have been vaccinated safely, Craner worries about complications. She believes that some people are having life-threatening reactions to the vaccine that the media aren't reporting, and she's worried because it's so new. We don't know the long-term effects. We don't know what that's going to be. This is a woman that NPR interviewed. A recent NPR poll found that 1 in 4 Americans said they would refuse a coronavirus vaccine outright if offered. Another 5% are undecided. That was one of the things producer Dave brought up in the stream the other day. Is it just going to taper off at about 65, 67%? And we'll never reach herd immunity. COVID infections, exactly. Now, some researchers are increasingly worried that this reticence will be enough to prevent the nation from reaching what's known as herd immunity, the point at which the coronavirus can no longer spread easily through the population and transmission peters out. Reaching high levels of vaccination would mean new outbreaks of the coronavirus would die down quickly, as opposed to growing and spreading. Up until now, the nationwide vaccine campaign has seen demand outstrip supply, but Mockdad says he believes that will soon change. That's, as I said, that's what's happening in East Tennessee right now. They're already like sitting at vaccination sites going, here we are, these are going to spoil, where are you at? It's hard to know exactly how many people will choose not to get vaccinated. The NPR polling has seen the numbers of people say they would refuse a vaccine drop since the question was first asked in August, and it continues to fall. So 25% say no, 5% unsure. Ooh. The numbers who may refuse a vaccine remain potentially too high to contain a respiratory virus such as SARS, COVID-2, which requires a large segment of the population to be immune. Nobody knows exactly how large, but based on other diseases, researchers believe it is far above the current 32% of the U.S. population that's gotten at least one shot to date. What most of us want is a safe return to something that looks more normal. This is the guy who models the coronavirus outbreak at Northeastern University. That means 80 to 85% vaccinated, probably. There remain many obstacles to the U.S. getting to the roughly 80% immunity threshold and some unknowns. It's unclear, for example, how many of those who say they will refuse a shot are immune because they've already had COVID-19. And roughly 20% of the population are children under the age of 16 who are not yet eligible to receive a vaccine, making it even more crucial that adults do get vaccinated. Now that is a good way to get to the boomers that might have had the QAnon bullshit get into their heads. So a third of COVID survivors suffer neurological or mental disorder, according to a study. This was of 230,000 participants. Mostly American patients were diagnosed with a brain or psychiatric disorder within 6 months, suggesting the pandemic could lead to a wave of mental and neurological problems, scientists said this week. Researchers who conducted the analysis said it was not clear how the virus was linked to psychiatric conditions, such as anxiety and depression, but that these were the most common diagnoses among the 14 disorders they looked at. Now, apparently brain fog for months afterwards is a common side effect of getting COVID, so I could totally see that leading to depression. I hope so, Dustin. I hope. There's so many people out there that are like, I never wore a mask. I haven't got COVID. Interestingly enough, as of right now, nearly half of all the new U.S. virus infections are just in 5 states. New York, Michigan, Florida, Mr. DeSantis, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey together reported 44% of the nation's new COVID-19 infections. This is in the latest 7-day period, according to Johns Hopkins University. Interesting. Meanwhile, they have halted the AstraZeneca vaccine in the UK. Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, okay. They had halted it. The story is updated since I put it on the board over here. It was a couple of days ago. Carry on jabbing. Boris Johnson and Keir Starmer both back safe AstraZeneca vaccine and urge people to have second dose after decision not to give it to under 30s over linked to rare blood clots suffered by 79 people out of 20 million doses. Yeah, that's a small number. And God, when compared to the number of people that would normally get blood clots. The government, opposition, politicians, and medical experts were tonight rushing to shore up confidence in the AstraZeneca vaccine after health chiefs ruled it should not be given to Britons under the age of 30 amid fears the move could damage the public's faith in the jab. Boris Johnson and Matt Hancock tweeted that the British-made vaccine was safe and that the benefits far outweighed the risks for the vast majority of adults. While Labour leader Keir Starmer said he was looking forward to getting his second dose. It came after the government's vaccine advisory group ruled today that people aged 18 to 29 should be offered an alternative to the AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine, while experts continue to investigate its link to rare blood clots. 3 times the normal rate is worrying. But it is indeed rare. So yeah, that's one of those debates. I see what you're saying. Now, what's not up for debate is how bad of a singer Senator John Kennedy is. At least I'm assuming. I say that before I actually watch this video and hear him. Maybe old lady Kennedy is actually really good. So, take it away, Senator Kennedy, with your serenade.
Born free as the wind blows, as free as the grass grows, born free to follow your heart. Live free and beauty surrounds you. The world still astounds you each time you look at a star. I'm Senator John Kennedy. I can't sing very well, but I'm free. Be free. Be cool. Get the vaccine. I did. It works.
He said be cool. He said be cool right after doing the most uncool thing I have ever witnessed in my life. God damn, I hate this man. Let's watch it again.
Born free as
I'm not high enough for this shit.
As free as the grass grows, born free to follow your heart. Live free and beauty surrounds you. The world still astounds you each time you look at a star. I'm Senator John Kennedy. I can't sing very well, but
oh. Jesus. All right. Speaking of right-wing chuckle fucks.
Gets back from his pee, or otherwise he just doesn't want to be involved with this segment.
Nah. I'm out. I'm out.
Look, this is right here because we did this last week where I showed you, as someone who, and a lot of people out there, you can comment if you've been involved with any grappling sports. These aren't uncommon positions, right? Pinning positions.
Yeah.
We did it in the studio, and people said, well,
what the fuck? They got these motherfuckers dressed up like Keystone Cops or some shit. What the fuck?
Long. I don't want to do this, but again, the point is the drug.
Oh, he absolutely wants to do this. He promoted the shit out of it, did he not? It was all over the place. He absolutely wanted to do this. And this is like, I scrubbed through a show to find where he did this. Of course, he did it at the end of the show. He saved it for the end. He teased it the entire show. He absolutely wanted to do this. He even wore his fucking shirt for the self-promotion that he knew he would get, because he knew everybody would watch this stupid fucking clip of him doing this.
the 3.5 times the lethal dose of fentanyl matters. I don't expect this to be pleasant, but I think that people need to see what it's like with the closest to controlled conditions that we can recreate as far as body mass, weight, situation, to see what it actually might be like if someone is not in an agitated, significantly overdosed state. That's the reason for this.
I can't imagine they pulled his arms back behind him.
Yeah.
I'm going to lay down here. We'll have people restrained. So Tokenawan is...
Oh, you got to step
you got
back
out of
towards
range.
the building there.
Back
You're going
towards-
out of
towards
range.
the
There you
building.
go. Step back towards...
Oh, is
there
it
you
the
go.
microphone that's
There
out
you
of
go,
range?
right
Okay,
there.
there you go. 193 pounds. And Tokenawan, you can see right here, is 195 pounds.
There you go.
Is that how much Chauvin weighed?
Over, okay. And then I don't want to weigh myself right now because after my leg injury, but let's go with 230.
There you go.
Hey.
So the microphone needs to
I
stay
don't think
about
you need to
where
weigh
you
yourself. It
are.
doesn't matter all that much.
Yeah.
Even Brendan is weighing himself. It doesn't matter. What were you saying there, Gerald?
I was saying the microphone needs to stay roughly where you are right there. We get a
Oh,
little...
needs to stay roughly where I am.
Yeah.
Okay, Brendan, can
They
you
didn't even test out their fucking wireless mics and what the
scale here?
distance was on them before they went out here and did
While I'm
this.
on the ground here. Finnegan, that's not going to make any difference here.
Like, why is this reminding me of a Beastie Boys video?
Not on my... so Finnegan, come here and hold this microphone because I don't think that microphone works. All right. Put him on my wrist,
Just
okay?
a prop.
I can't stand
Can you
it.
still hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Is Dave back yet?
Motherfucker planned it.
I think he's
By
avoiding
the way, these
this
are much
segment.
smaller handcuffs than actual... Put them around my wrist, yeah, not for him. These are much smaller handcuffs than actual handcuffs, just so you know.
Dave's back.
Hey, Dave's back.
So these handcuffs actually have less room, like a little bit more distance. Okay. Now I'm getting a little bit of echo in my own sound here. Okay,
Sorry.
we're going to lay down.
I was hoping I'd be part of this.
All right, here. What?
What?
80?
You okay?
Oh, you want me to face this way?
I despise Steven
Have
Crowder.
somebody move your earpiece to the other ear because they'll be kneeling right where it's
Oh, you
attached
don't
to your
have to
shirt.
Okay,
Yeah,
move the
that might be
a little
earpiece to
hard.
my other ear.
Yeah.
Well, the point is I can't have it on my stomach. So,
Well, whatever you need to do. Go ahead. Let them do their thing.
I'm trying to not break my mic pack.
There you go.
All
Okay,
right.
gotcha. All
Okay.
right.
I really have to pee too, so.
Do you?
So let me know when you guys are ready to start.
All right,
the timer.
I'm ready to go.
I mean, this is the end of his show, so.
Hey, how do you think George Floyd felt?
Stop it.
Well, I'm just saying.
Well, hold on a second. They didn't say they started the timer.
We're ready when
Hey,
you
ready?
are.
And 3.
I'm guessing the knee is not going to go on his neck.
Okay, all right. So
Timer
kneel
down.
on-
Neil.
Neil.
Kneel on my neck here, shoulder.
Oh, pause the timer.
Oh my goodness.
It's okay.
There we go. All right, now I'll roll it back.
It's actually more uncomfortable for
9.
me because I
There
have
we
a
go.
bad shoulder. So my left shoulder right now is popped out of the.
Everybody knows, like, the problem with this, right?
Oh, no, of
Yeah,
course
no,
I
of
do.
course.
Already complained.
Hey, you know what, Dave? Sometimes you deserve to be arrested.
That's true.
He's specifically meaning you, Dave.
No,
I think
my response is agreement.
I think
Floyd was having a panic attack.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I think they were more like on the hamstring area.
Okay.
You know, it's a
Uncomfortable position for sure. It's supposed to be
much different world than knowing for a fact you're going to be laying there for only 9 minutes and you've got your
What
friend
really hurts is my left shoulder just because of
not putting his weight on. Because, like, notice they're just kind of like.
my forearms, not on my wrist.
Again, he did that?
Yeah. He
If you've done any grappling or been around professional wrestlers and shit, like, they're fucking.
unpleasant. Thanks for that token.
He's not putting his weight on him. Whereas, you know, Chauvin, we watched the video. Chauvin has Floyd's arm, pulling it back with his knee on his neck. We're getting ready to hear from the medical expert, not a dumb fuck like Steven Crowder, a medical expert, actually tell us what George Floyd was going through, and it wasn't this.
I'm asking, would this kill someone?
Right.
Yes.
And
we don't know yet.
It looks like his right knee is on your back more than Chauvin.
Not what you're doing. No. But what you're doing is not what happened.
There's new evidence coming in, so I don't
Of
really
his
know.
low back? Well,
I can pull
obviously
the
it's on, right?
photo back
Yeah,
up.
pull
but
the
then
photo if there are any changes that
I don't
need
want
to
to
be made.
cover up the
Okay,
screen.
yeah. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, good idea.
Please grab his arm and torque it.
Not on the...
Oh, wait, hold on a second.
We want to be realistic here, right?
Back and forth. So,
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? Token out. Let's also, because now they're saying it was on the neck and shoulder, let's move the knee to a little more. It was more. No, it wasn't on the shoulder. It was across the shoulder
Wouldn't
blade.
you have to restart the clock?
No. They
Still
the
No, it was on the neck. We saw it. Like, he's nowhere near it.
So Chauvin would have to move just like that as well. He would move to reposition.
My point is your breathing does sound strained, which if somebody is on fentanyl, that could be deadly.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is a submission. This is not a submission, but this is a position
I guess, Dave,
of
I
restraint.
don't understand your point.
You almost called it a submission hold.
They shouldn't be restrained?
I guess my point is if you do think somebody's on a lethal narcotic and you know that this can affect their breathing,
They
it
didn't.
may not be the
They
best
didn't know
situation.
that. They knew he was
said he
on.
didn't take drugs, Dave.
Yeah, they knew
Well, of
he
course
had,
he said he didn't.
They knew that he
Dave,
had something
what do you?
in his system.
Dave, so what is your suggestion that they should have known that he was on 4 times the dose of fentanyl?
Well,
What's he keep saying 4 times? Like he was trace amounts of fentanyl.
This is unpleasant.
It
But
looks
that's it.
unpleasant.
Yes, but so is prison.
Well, it depends on.
Well,
All right,
there's a
look,
lot of unpleasant
Move
things.
it back to my neck. If you get the picture, whatever you guys think is this close enough? I don't want people to say that I'm not doing it. So
No,
I can't.
I think that's.
Oh, I think people are going to say plenty.
Yeah, they're. I think.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna have plenty to say about
This
this.
seems to be from this
Pretty
angle
close.
the proper.
I'm certainly not high enough for it.
If he had his right knee on his low back, is what I'm saying. So that's the thing that I think
That's
is a
the
little
part
bit different.
too that is different.
Yeah, I think that right knee. I don't know. Just leave it where it is for now, because if any.
Yeah, I do want you to know. I want you. I specifically arranged the stories to where it is the juxtaposition. We're going to get the actual expert telling us what was going on with George Floyd here in just a second.
The point is, does he feel any straining from you? Does he feel anything that would indicate that you're suffering?
But Steven Crowder didn't do that now, did he?
Yeah, and by the way, I don't think the guy was on his legs for the whole time either.
I
Right?
don't know. I
Wasn't
can't
he on
tell
there for
you.
only a portion of the
He
time?
was only on there for a portion of the time, and then he was holding his legs more with his hands than anything
Okay.
else. So.
All right. So how long was that? Should we do that? Should we have Brennan do that?
Let's wait a couple more minutes to do that. If you're.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So listen, I mean, this is uncomfortable.
Don't worry,
This
you
is a
only have
painful
8
thing to
minutes,
do.
30 seconds left.
So Tokenawan, let me ask you this: Can you? I mean, what do you? What do
Okay,
you,
so
you guys doing okay up there?
Make sure he shouldn't be sitting on your calves. down.
No, he's not sitting on my calves.
Given
He's sitting on
is-
my
is like
hamstrings.
sitting on his calves, he should be more propped up.
Oh, okay, so
He looks like a coked out Irish 70s
Hold on a second,
cop.
there, Dave. I need to hear what they're
Tim,
saying.
you
I'm
go,
sorry.
You go out there and.
Speaking of Ireland, we're going to finish up tonight with
He should be more propped up. Like he should be.
international
not
news.
sitting as much.
You shouldn't be sitting on your calves.
So
as much.
So what do you
Higher.
think? More on your knees or more,
More
on
on
your
his
feet?
knees.
Given.
Okay, more on your knees. All right, so more
I
weight.
think that goes to show, though, by the way he's sitting, he's trying to be
Yeah, I like that,
comfortable.
Gibbon.
I don't think
Gibbon
the
can-
cop's trying to be comfortable on Floyd, where that means all of his weight's going to be shifted to his knee, which is on George Floyd's neck.
Well, at least somebody brings up the obvious.
If his right knee is not on his low back,
Definitely higher, yeah.
then that's
Like-
different.
Yeah, it
There you
is.
Well, I'll tell you, look,
that's
I'm
closer.
definitely going to have the continued spasm in my neck, which won't be fun to tape to change my mind tomorrow. But again, I
Yeah.
can move my head right here. You're putting all your weight on me there, Tokenawan?
Yeah.
It probably feels pretty uncomfortable for Tokenawan to be doing this.
And let's go back and forth, move to the other position on my shoulder where he spent most of the time. We know now, it's just kind of no. So it wasn't on the shoulder. It was a little bit. Was that
Shoulder
where it was?
blade.
On
I
the
just
shoulder?
don't see this as the same move, though.
What?
Dave,
It's not.
How do you see it as so different?
And that's,
The photo.
The photo. Do you think?
what's the point of even doing this when we've got
The end, all the weight was on the front of his knee.
the
Look at how he's leaned
police
up. Look at how Tokenawan-
supervisor
What's the difference
saying
between what Tokenawan is
that's
doing?
not what he was trained to do?
He's
We've got force of
There's two of
Officer
us
is higher?
saying that.
use of force
Okay, so
experts
Tokenawan just makes your body upright.
testifying that's not what he was supposed to do.
Higher.
That's
He's saying trying-
Chauvin himself wanted to plead guilty.
Might be too high. Little back.
Barr rejected his plea.
No, not you, Brennan.
So, Stephen, did
Now,
that
Brennan,
change
let go of my
anything for
legs
you?
and just hold my feet.
Now
'Cause that's what happened.
Now ask Tokenawan if he feels that he's got to put more pressure on his knees.
Well, I'll tell you what, it actually is less weight on me from when he got up. I have
Okay.
less weight on
He's
me.
probably
and again,
pushing
anyone,
up with his
anyone who knows
feet.
anything about grappling knows that the more upright you are that way, you actually can't exert downward. You can't exert, it's a diagonal pressure. Kind
Yeah.
of like when a wrestler shoots. A lot of people say, man, how did that wrestler shoot so quickly for a double leg? Because a lot of people think it's just powered by gravity. It's actually not. It's powered by a forward motion diagonal.
3
so you're
minutes
kind of
left.
propelling yourself down to the ground. So if
Right.
Tokenawan can lean, which he was doing before,
I hate Steven Crowder.
bringing off the balls of his feet and putting more weight on me. There's less weight on me now.
But he already went back down, though. Like, that means he was uncomfortable.
Well, you talking about Tokenawan
Yes.
or Stephen?
Tokenawan.
Yeah,
No,
I don't think
Stephen
Chauvin
looks-
maintains the same position the entire time. I think we have a photo
And you
of
look
one-
deathly uncomfortable right now.
I'm very
Yeah.
uncomfortable. Of course it's not comfortable.
Restraint positions are not comfortable.
I'm not saying that.
He even said deathly uncomfortable.
I'm just pointing out what I'm looking at.
Well, so here's the thing, right?
Can't I?
He used the word deathly to describe it.
I just don't understand
What's
when
the
we
point?
decide
Literally
that
said
violent offenders who are
deathly.
resisting arrest are supposed to be entirely comfortable. What I am saying is this is uncomfortable.
think-
If I demanded to be put on the ground and kicked a cop, this seems like getting off easy and would be entirely appropriate. Look,
2 minutes to go.
you know what? Move it back to my neck, since some people still believe that's a thing.
We're not in this.
What?
Well, kind of.
Well,
Just because it's Steven.
I haven't worked for him that long.
Steven doesn't realize there's a lot of people out there right now that hope Tokenawan makes a mistake.
Oh, there's like millions.
Well, that's
I
true.
think that's a little high up now, right? That's on my head, not my neck.
That's more
Yeah,
on
that
his
is
head,
high up.
yeah.
But see how he's shifting.
Well, so
was
Tokenawan,
Chauvin.
exactly. Cops don't just sit there and maintain the exact same position. They move
90
around a
seconds.
little bit.
He just shifted weight from, by the way, my neck to the back of my head, where even in early UFCs it was illegal to strike, Dave. I hope this is enough for you.
Well,
We're
I
giving you a
don't
hard
see
time
why
a
it's
little
all
bit.
on me.
I know, you're fine. No, I think what we're showing here is that, look, somebody can do just fine in this position. It's uncomfortable.
Somebody can do just fine in this position. We're getting ready to hear what a fucking expert thinks.
I do grappling, and my father, who's
Yeah, you see, this was illegal in sports.
me to be under side control for him. I would not be able
Yeah.
to maintain that for 9 minutes. And by the way, I have been talking this whole time, and in case people wonder, I talk really fast, and I have a
Heart thing?
condition.
Yeah.
It's a chest condition where my bone grows into my heart. I have to get surgery in July. The point is,
Sounds like Alf.
the point is that this is probably more difficult for me than it is for a lot of you out there watching. But I also don't have 4 times the lethal dose of fentanyl in my system.
That's
and
true.
again, I'm
30
just laying
seconds.
down because this is more comfortable. No, I can still get up. I can switch my face. It's more comfortable for me to lay
And so
my
did
head
George
down.
Floyd, by the way. He did pull his head up and move his head
Yeah.
around.
So just so you
Wow,
have a
wow.
way where it sounds like I'm normal,
Yeah.
but it's less comfortable for me to do a neck flex.
Well, and I'm also just throwing stuff in there because I'm trying to,
Time.
It's
Good
10
you,
seconds.
Dave. You in their third
9,
chair, nice
8,
and comfy.
7.
It's very
After
nice.
having just relieved yourself.
5,
Oh, 5.
4,
We're almost there.
I can't believe we watched 9.5 minutes of this
Two
bullshit.
seconds.
Happy New Year.
All right, Tokenawan,
There
get
you
off.
go.
Get off. Okay, good. There
All
we
right,
go.
now
We're
get him
done.
up.
All right.
Get him up. Help
There
him
we go.
up.
Help him up, though.
Okay.
Well, they don't have earpieces. Oh,
Okay.
no. Oh,
Who's this
oh.
guy?
What the, that, what? What the fuck did I just see? God damn. All right, so here is Dr. Martin Tubin, a physician who specializes in pulmonology and critical care medicine. Now, whose word you gonna take on it? Dr. Tubin or Steven Crowder?
Were you able to observe whether Mr. Floyd's breathing was impacted by the handcuffs and the placement on the street?
Yes, I was.
What did you observe, Dr. Tobin?
What I observed is particularly is in terms of the hands of the police and the handcuffs, particularly on the left side. So they were forcing his left wrist up into his chest, forcing it in tight against his chest, forcing it high up.
Did you see any of Steven Crowder's people doing that to him?
And you have to keep in mind that the opposite side of this is the street. So he was being squashed between the two sides. And so this meant that he couldn't exert his pump handle because, the street totally blocked his pump handle. There was no way he could do any front to back movement. And again, the way they were pressing in on the back, there was absolutely no way that he could do any front to back movement. Then in addition, because of the knee that was rammed in against the left side of his chest, sometimes the knee was down on the arm or in against the chest, so this would have the same effect. So basically, on the left side of his lung, it was almost like a surgical pneumonectomy. It was almost to the effect as if a surgeon had gone in and removed the lung. Not quite, but along those lines. So there was...
Oh, I'm Steven Crowder. I'm going to lay here and I'm going to flop around with somebody on my back. I'm going to act like it's the same thing. Oh. But no, apparently it was as if the man had one of his lungs removed.
Virtually very little opportunity for him to be able to get any air to move into the left side of his chest. So he was going to be totally dependent on what he'd be able to do with the right side.
So I don't believe that Steven Crowder properly represented what George Floyd went through. Once again, we are going to pick up when we get to closing arguments of the Derek Chauvin trial. We will be here for the verdict, live streaming. Now here we have some fun stuff. One Mr. Eric Bowling. I guess he's on with BBC, it looks like. The incident took place during an exchange between Bowling and Aisha Mills on a new voting law in the state of Georgia. Yeah, it looks like it happened on the BBC.
My thoughts on that: businesses, their job, their whole reason for being in America, at least, is to create shareholder value. Shareholders buy into their businesses, and they have to increase. And the way you do that is by increasing sales. When the American politics has become so divided, there is no middle ground anymore in politics in America. It's far right and far left, and that's the undisputed truth.
There is no fucking far left in this country. Why do people keep saying that?
It's become political. Wearing a mask has become political. A voting law
because of people like you.
Become political, and
because of people like you.
Ramifications within Major League Baseball. But when you pick a side as a business, you're alienating the other side. Now, typically in America, and I believe you'll have a liberal Democrat come on, and I would be remiss to say that this is the way it goes. Typically in America, liberals have always used the boycott as a tool, a gun, so to speak, pointing at corporate CEOs' heads, saying either you listen to us and do it.
In my lifetime, that has not been the case at all. I've lived through countless fucking boycotts. One of the earliest ones I remember was like when I was a kid, Disney had like a gay day. Like 94, 95, 96, somewhere along that time period. And they had a shit fit over it and boycotted Disney. The Dixie Chicks. They boycotted the Dixie, wouldn't play the Dixie Chicks on any radio station. I worked for a country station and they wouldn't play the Dixie Chicks. They really are. Fuck. And another thing, cancel culture. Sinead O'Connor. I like, there was like this, I was watching this timepiece on 1992. Just in passing, they showed that picture of Sinead O'Connor, like ripping the picture of the Pope. Oh my God. That woman got railroaded, and she was right. She was right. I feel so sorry for what they did to her. And it was people on his side.
Do it things our way, or we'll boycott your product. Conservatives in America have stepped away from that. I believe the time has come now. The pendulum has swung so far into this woke culture, cancel culture, liberal Democrat world that.
And didn't they just boycott the NFL? Didn't they just like burn like Keurigs and shit? Like, wasn't there like, haven't they been boycotting shit for years? Isn't it only them doing it?
To step up and say, we're 50% of this country. If we do what you've done, these corporate CEOs who are listening, catering to only one side, will have to step up and listen to it, or lose half their sales.
Let me hear from Aisha Moody Mills then. Do you think businesses are tying themselves in knots when they respond to each and every cause that their consumers or their workers feel strongly about?
Well, first of all, let me just go back and address the rubbish that was just said. You know, this attack on liberals and boycotts as if, somehow, one, holding corporations accountable is a problem is just ridiculous. But listen, it's actually Donald Trump now who's the one that wants to claim, a boycott, and he's no longer going to drink Diet Coke, and he's going to tell his crazy conservative people to stop drinking Coke. So
Chick-fil-A.
the focus on liberals is actually trying to change the narrative in the conversation. Here's the deal. The deal is that everybody, corporations should include.
I mean, hell, I'm one of the people that, I'm disgusted by Chick-fil-A. I do not want to give them my money, but every now and again, I'll go and I'll get a spicy chicken sandwich. They're fucking good. I can't help it. That's how good I am at boycotting shit.
That they operate in, right? So what's happening right now is that an issue, voting, which is just fundamentally a right for everybody.
I have one every couple of years, goddammit.
A liberal or a conservative.
I seriously haven't had one
Republican or none of the above,
3 years.
Right? Not with any party. You should be able to go and vote. And you should have a fair opportunity and access to that ballot. It should not be made more complicated, difficult, or restrictive for you, no matter who
Understandable.
you are, what walk of life you come from, how much money you have, what race you are, or what geographic region you live in, and certainly not what party you are. It should not be more difficult.
The other day, I was scrolling through my shit, and I saw an article that said, if you care about the environment, this is the food you want to avoid. And as I'm clicking on it, it dawns on me what they're going to tell me as I'm clicking on the article. And I'm like, nope, I don't want to read this. Nope. Because I know exactly what it is. It's methane from fucking factory farms. And they're right. They're absolutely right. I want to move to a sustainable type of farming where I get my beef and pigs and shit from right down the road. I don't like our factory farming system.
Vote. That is fundamental what we're talking about here. So what corporations are doing is they're saying, yeah, we don't want to get into the partisan muck, but at the end of the day, why is voting a partisan issue? Right?
Honestly.
Everybody just access our democracy, and they are fundamentally taking a stand for fairness. Conservatives have a problem with that, though, because when the game is fair, they lose, which is why they're always trying to rig the game.
Let me ask you just that very first
Preach
point,
it, sister.
Eric, are you going to be boycotting the companies that have...
No, so here, can I just clear something up? Major League Baseball pulled the All-Star game from Atlanta. Atlanta's 50% African-American, and they did it on the heels of what Aisha has been fed from the Biden administration, that somehow this voting rule is bad for African Americans in the state of Georgia. They pulled it from the state of Georgia and put it into Denver, Colorado with 9.7%.
Okay, wait a second.
Allow me to finish. 9.7% African American representation in Denver. Here's what they did to the African people.
I'll bring you in 1 second, Aisha.
You should be offended by it.
They did to the African American community, minority businesses in Atlanta, in Cobb County. They took $100 million of revenue. They took 8,000 booked hotel rooms.
So this jackass is disingenuous.
Put them in a state and a city with far less diversity than the state of Atlanta. And by the way, if Aisha wants to complain about this, take it up with Stacey Abrams, who's the voting advocate in Georgia, who said it was a mistake. Take it up with both senators.
Hey. They keep blaming it. They keep blaming it on the Democrats. That it's Joe Biden. It's the senator's fault and shit. Why is it not Brian Kemp and the Republicans in Georgia for passing the law in the fucking first place? Why did they not get the blame for it?
For both Democrats, one of them African American, who said it was a mistake.
So the point is, just to broaden this out, the point that Stacey Abrams was making is that actually businesses are hurting Atlanta more by moving stuff out and by the activism and the stance they're taking. Aisha, do you want to respond to that one?
I do, because I think it's really rich for any Republican, especially a white man, to run around and claim that they care about the economic condition of black communities and black businesses when that's all a lie. Okay, there's nothing in their policies.
Just please let her finish.
That they've done. The other thing is that I don't work for the Biden administration.
Eric, I'm so sorry, we can't hear you. I'm going to let Aisha finish.
I don't work for the Biden administration, never have, but what I am is a black person in America. And everything that these voting laws stand for and what they look like are reminiscent to the Jim Crow policies that my family's lived under. This, every single thing about it. So this is all about racial discrimination. And how dare you try to act like you are somehow a proponent of black people in
He's still running his mouth, isn't he?
just to make a point and to try to create a wedge. It's ignorant and it's just disrespectful.
That's disgusting. I'm done. Put me off. That's disgusting. I am nowhere.
Yeah.
in anything.
Throw a fit, Snowflake.
The problem with American politics is exactly that. Because I'm white, you think I'm racist? That's BS. I'm
Okay.
done.
Will you just
I'm
stay,
done.
Eric? Will you just stay for this question?
Oh, I know you're racist because I just heard you say some racist ass shit right before she called you out on it. And then you acted like a fucking snowflake. You had to throw a little fit because somebody threw your bullshit back at you. Apparently, Geraldo also got into some shit earlier, and somebody threw his shit back at him. And I think we're talking about the same topic, raising America.
And the newly elected mayor, we wish her the very best of luck with her policy. Leo, here's the question. She said, I appreciate the role of white allies in this movement of progress. I don't believe that they have the lived experience to lead a majority-minority city. Okay, so she said that. This will be an interesting social experience or perhaps even an experiment.
That is the most insulting, racist comment. You know what she's saying? She's saying, because you're white, you don't understand what we as black people go through regarding crime. That makes the assumption then that Joe Biden doesn't know. To say that she is basically in a better position because she's black is insulting, is racist, and it makes no sense whatever. I reject that argument.
Hey, Leo,
that you
when
have
was
to
the
be
last time you were in the ghetto? Wait a second. Wait a second.
Well, how
Was she
dare
saying
you
that you
say
don't-
that, sir? I was born.
She was-
I lived right near the Coliseum. That's where I was
I'm
born.
from Avenue
okay?
C, dude.
Next to
I'm
the
from
Coliseum.
Avenue
How
C.
dare you say that?
That
You know
knowledge
nothing
that
about
I
me.
have
You-
is helpful.
How dare you say that?
That knowledge I have is helpful.
Insulting.
That knowledge that I have from my
Insulting.
background
What
is
are you
helpful.
trying to drive?
But,
You
Geraldo,
are
do you
trying to
think-
imply
Let her try. Let her try.
What are you trying to
Let her
imply?
try to.
How
Let
dare
her
you?
try a
How dare you
kinder
say
approach.
that?
Maybe
You know,
it'll
Bill,
work.
You know what
we certainly
You
haven't.
know what Bill just accused me
stop
of?
with the daring.
Bill Hammer just accused Bill. You know what Geraldo accused me of? He accused me of living in a particular area that I don't understand. How dare you? I've been a civil rights attorney for 30 years. I have fought against
All right,
discrimination for 30 years.
Okay,
Check my
gentlemen.
record.
Jesus
How
on
dare
earth.
you? How dare you?
Listen,
You're fabulous,
I love you
Leo.
both.
How dare you?
Wait, guys, hey, we started out in a moment of...
Okay, so here's the weird thing. It seems like Geraldo is on the side of the Democratic black woman that's the mayor-elect of St. Louis. And it seems like the civil rights attorney of 30 years is like wanting to give her shit for some reason. On the face of it, just like civil rights attorney like gives it to Geraldo, I thought like I'd be on his side, but I'm not so sure that. I don't know whose side I'm on here. And, oh, what's his name is like, I don't know what's going on here, huh? Damn. And apparently they're bringing on Ajit Pai at some point in time. I can't believe that motherfucker is making a comeback. I wish these people could feel embarrassment. All right, we're going to finish up tonight by going over some international stories. Yes, I'm happy. So, Northern Ireland is seeing unrest. I'm not exactly sure what's going on. We're going to try to catch up together. This is kind of a little fluff piece here. Okay. 6 nights of disturbances across Northern Ireland have left 55 police officers injured and aggravated a political crisis that encompasses policing, Brexit, and the endless tug of war between nationalists and unionists. Oh, shit. Oh, it's that stuff again. Last night was at a scale we haven't seen in Belfast or further afield in Northern Ireland for a number of years. said the assistant chief constable. We are very, very lucky no one was seriously injured or killed last night, given in particularly the large number of petrol bombs thrown. TransLink said the bus driver was very shaken, but physically unhurt. 10 people have been arrested over the past week. The British and Irish governments expressed grave concern that the scenes supposedly consigned to history had returned. The region's power-sharing executive... Now, this was one of the things that people warned about when Brexit was going on. The region's power-sharing executive at Stormont held an emergency meeting with Simon Byrne, the chief constable, in the assembly chamber. Politicians from all parties condemned the violence. Indeed. That's what the violence in Ireland was going on like when I was a kid. That shit is fairly recent. But there were reports that loyalists are planning fresh protests this weekend, and there was no sign of a detente between Sinn Féin and the Democratic Unionist Party to chart a way out of the crisis. In some way, things are not as bad as they look. The protests have been small, usually involving just a few dozen people. The main loyalist paramilitary groups have not thrown their weight behind the protests. The Stormont Assembly and Executive are still functioning and giving primacy to peaceful constitutional politics. And no one has died, but the undercurrents driving the unrest are deep and turbulent. I don't know enough about the politics, but yeah, I think that's the thing, is Northern Ireland wants to stay with the EU, and they don't like the whole Brexit deal. I don't know enough about it. And this piece was more fluff than it was actual details. But we're going to keep an eye on this, and we'll check back in with what's going on in the UK. Now, I believe we're moving to Germany. Ex-gay adult film star, men's rights activist, announces a run for office. An ex-gay adult film star who is also a men's rights activist has announced a run for office. Indeed, what a sentence. A German-born ex-gay adult film star living in Scotland, I was wrong on this, says he's turning over a new leaf. He's putting his X-rated past behind him and focusing his attention on local politics. 43-year-old Philip Tanzer began working as an adult film star in 2007, performing as Logan McCree. Nudity's not allowed on Twitter, is it? I can't Google him. He became known for his distinctive tattoos that cover most of his body, including his penis and butt. Oh shit, I think I have seen him. In 2008, he won a Grabby Award for Best Fetish Video, and in 2010, he launched his very own website, LoganMcCree.tv, which was sort of like a precursor to OnlyFans, where he billed himself as the hottest German porn star around. Then in 2012, everything changed. Tanzer quit the adult entertainment business, left Germany, and moved to Scotland with his girlfriend. After announcing that he had no longer considered himself gay, he became a men's rights activist. Now he's launching a political campaign. Not only that, but he's running on an anti-porn platform as a member of the uber-conservative Scottish Family Party. Too slow, ladies. He's already been snatched up. Porn is not a men's problem, the Come in My Face 2 star tells the Daily Mail. Both boys and girls consume pornography and both suffer under its impact. When I was younger, I was not clear what path I would take. I was pushed into identifying myself as something at the age of 32 that I was not. The Scottish Family Party best represent my views on life and society. Despite appearing in over a dozen adult films and making a ton of money in the process, Tanzer, who is a vocal supporter of Donald Trump, says it never aligned with his values. I had a negative view of the pornographic industry before I even joined it, he says, but I needed the money. Because one can't be anti-porn and pro-gay at the same time, the Jock Itch star says he doesn't believe LGBTQ history should be taught in schools because it promotes the LGBT plus lifestyles and pornography on children. He's also against same-sex adoption and banning conversion therapy bans. Asked whether he thinks his X-rated past might hurt his election chances, Tanzer, who now works as a hairdresser, he's still fucking gay. And recently had his Twitter account suspended for making extremist comments, tells the Daily Mail that he really doesn't think so. Everyone in Durness has heard about it, but I really try and help in the community as much as I can, and people are very grateful. Oh fuck. Is this a video of him?
I think as a man that I would grow up to be too normal. So she bought me a heavy metal t-shirt and she gave me one of her like old leather trousers.
This is the guy, the ex-gay adult film star.
Like makeup quite often and feather boas and spiky collars and stuff like that.
I'd fuck him.
That was me in a beautiful silver glitter dress with a head dress that I made.
Maybe let him fuck me. I don't know if he's a top or a bottom. He looks like a bottom in that dress, though.
And that was actually my goodbye party from the military. I was in the military for 3 years.
Yep. It all makes sense. So I'm going to go back and watch that. That looked interesting. Now moving to Australia, and this one also involves gayness and videotape. That story about the Australian Parliament gay sex tape leak just took another weird turn. Well, I didn't know what the first turn was, so we're in for a wild ride here. That bizarre story about men filming themselves hooking up inside the Australia's Parliament House just took another unexpected turn. It all started last month when a government employee by the name of Nathan Wynn was fired after footage of him masturbating on the desk of a female lawmaker was leaked to the press. A second video also leaked showing Wynn performing oral sex with his ex-boyfriend, Gavin Cuddy. Well, now it's being reported that Cuddy, who works as a retail manager, himself is responsible for a sex tape leak that has rocked the government down under. Why would someone leak their own sex tape, you wonder? Cuddy initially said it was to put a stop to the toxic, powerful, privileged boy club that does what it wants, when it wants, where it wants. But as it turns out, his motives may have been a lot more personal. According to the Sunday Morning Herald, he leaked the videos after learning Wynn had gotten engaged to someone else. Nathan basically shut him down, and now it was revenge porn? I am not pro-revenge porn. I have plenty of naked pictures and videos of people that I don't like, and I would never leak them to anybody. Nathan basically shut him down and his character and has now decided to get even. Wynn's former boss, Liberal MP Warren Etch, tells the paper, Liberal MP is also not liberal as the U.S. would know it. Let's make it clear it's revenge porn, he says. Yes, it is. Matt Gaetz was the only congressman to vote against the revenge porn thing might have been the Florida. It was the trafficking bill. He was the only congressman to vote against the trafficking bill in the U.S. House. In the state house in Florida, he voted against the revenge porn bill. Fucking Matt Gaetz. Wynn describes Cuddy as a crazy ex-boyfriend who kept sending him X-rated photos even after they had broken up. When Wynn met eventually someone new, Cuddy started spreading hate about me. That's what he said. Meanwhile, Cuddy denies everything, simply saying none of this is true. Huh. Yes, his trips to the Bahamas are now being looked at. Also, his good buddy, was it Greenberg, is being looked at. Looks like he's cooperating with prosecutors. We covered what his lawyer, Greenberg, I think it was Greenberg. Am I fucking his name up? We covered what his lawyer said earlier today, implying that Matt Gaetz is in some trouble. If you are watching on Twitch, I'm going to send you over to Kami Buddha. Plenty of good channels to choose from tonight. If you're not watching on Twitch, be sure to subscribe, like, share, all that good shit. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm Justin Freakin, and McConnell is a hypocrite. I'm Justin Freakin. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol. Live.